Happy New Year! Welcome to 2024. Let's continue with our last year's conversations. Don't punish yourself for your partner's ADHD. Remember, I talked about this dynamic, victim and the villain. So let's dive in today to get to know more about this dynamic. Anybody can take on a role as a victim. Maybe you're triggered by your boss, by your landlord, by your partner, by your parent, by your partner, by your children, or your friend. Anybody can trigger you into being a victim in that dynamic and then point your finger out at them as the villain. So let's focusing on the ADHD, non-ADHD partner dynamic here. I have an example. During the holidays, so if your ADHD partner is not living up to your standard, cannot support you and provide those efficiency and consistency that you need when you're, say, trying to host a party or to make a meal, holiday meal with your families. So what can you get into that place where you feel you're the victim? Example can be you start to feel angry, frustrated, very impatient, or helpless, even desperation, that you feel like giving up when your partner with ADHD is not living up to your standard, say not be able to support you in cooking a meal, or saying something that's very impulsive because they're ADHD. And you start to think in your head that it's all because they're ADHD that gets into the way of me enjoying this holiday time with my family because they're not doing this and that. So when you get into the victim role, how do you recognize that? Yes, those feelings I was mentioning earlier, it's very helpful to help you to identify, maybe I'm in the victim role right now. Another habitual pattern for people in the victim role is to think, they did that to me, they always do that to me, they never do that for me, or I feel helpless, I cannot enjoy myself, I cannot achieve this, I cannot protect myself because they are doing something. Do you notice the passivity in that when you're in that role? And oftentimes people in that victim role tend to have certain sensations. For those of you are very somatic and very sensitive in your body, in your system, you may notice some heat in your chest, in your head. Maybe you feel this fogginess in the head that you can't think straight, or you notice tension in your jaw, your neck, your shoulder, and even your arms and hands. So if you notice those sensations and then you realize you actually feel frustrated and angry, that's right, all those tension and those heat tend to be an indicator that you're experiencing aggression, which is a normal human emotions. And you may have a lot of thoughts come up that further make you realize you're in the victim role, that they're not reliable, they did this to me, they're not nice to me, they're so being inconsiderate, they prevent me from achieving this, they prevent me from resting, I'm the only one who's doing this without help, I'm exhausted from all of that. Do you notice there's a lot of they? Yes, and then you are lower, you're being restricted, your rights are being violated, you couldn't get what you deserve, get your needs met, and you're stuck in that place. It's a very miserable place to be. So let's take a look at this from a vagal nerve system and perspective. We all have needs. So the normal cycle is you go through your day, you're in ventral, you're in the center of yourself, you feel relaxed and calm, and you're motivated, you have somewhere to go, something to do, and then you are in your flow. And then at some point, you spend too much energy or you overestimated your capacity and time, you start to feel a little bit stressed. For example, when you're preparing for a huge holiday meal and catering for others, whether you have children and you have elderly to take care of, you are really juggling different roles in your life. And your partner with ADHD is not helping you the way you want them to be. They're not as efficient as you are. You start to feel frustrating, you start to bullying them, you start to really target them and get rid of your energy, that frustration, the heat you're feeling. This is an indicator you're already in a fight or flight. That's a fight response. It's also the acting out of your outer critic, that they're not enough, they're not helping me, they don't support me, they are not loving me enough the way I want them to be. And some of us may have a slightly different response, or actually the two are activating together. The moment you have those thoughts that they're not good enough, they're not being supportive, they're having ADHD and they bother me, you may also have another group of thoughts saying, well, I should be a better partner that's more understanding, that love my partner unconditionally for their ADHD symptoms. I should be a better parent that engage my children while I'm doing all of that. I should be a better children myself that don't let my parents get involved in those cooking and caregiving. I should be able to do it all. Or I should be able to pull out everything and not feeling tired. I should take better care of myself. All this should could, right? And that is a sign of your inner critic is speaking up. And in some way, when you receive those inner critics, the energy, the aggression boomerang back onto you, you may start to feel sad and a little bit depressed and shut down. That's what we call a flight response. So if we were to put the fight response, the outer critic or the blaming others on this side, and we take the inner critic, that flighting on this side, so what's left? Take a moment to feel that. What's left? What's really deep inside of you? Yeah. That could be, I am feeling tired. I am exhausted. I am overburdened. That my system is overloaded, that I need to rest. I need to stop. I need to pause. I need to probably lie down or take a walk by myself. I need to release too much activities for me and attend to my nervous system. Yeah, and that could be a younger part of you that's feeling vulnerable, that want to be cared for, and screaming that how come I don't get the help and the support and the rest I deserve? How can you? Why cannot you give it to yourself? A lot of times we are doing, and we in the fight or flight, struggling with that, spending a lot of energy until our system shuts down, go to dorsal. So instead of going from central, and you notice you start to get to fight or flight, and then you pause and rest, breathe, and regulate your nervous system and come back to central, we tend to push too much until we go to dorsal, totally shut down. Don't want to try anymore, giving up, feeling desperated, exhausted, and not be able to engage at all. And that's also very normal and human. If we push our system all the way to that point, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go but to shut down. So how to come back to ourself, to our central? We can start by recognizing that we are human beings. Yes, we have all this role as a parent, as children, as partner, as friends, as workers. But we're also human. Those are external roles that we put on ourselves. When you come back to the essence, we have body, we have breath, and our heart is beating. So anything else we cannot regulate but our breathing and our heart rate. So I invite you to take a deep breath in with me and exhale, just let that out. All the road that you have, shake them out. And as you're breathing with your hand on your heart and attending to that part of you that's feeling vulnerable and tired, give it a lot of support from your breath. And notice your need as a human being. And notice your limitation as a human being. It's actually very simple what we need. It's a moment to breathe. You can sit down, you can lie down, you can take a walk. What I often notice is when I start to attend to that part that needs rest and care and breathe into that, it takes only a couple minutes for things to shift, and I notice movement towards my feet and things get released from the bottom of my feet. And sometimes you may hear there's some movement in your gut, and that's also a good sign that your vagus nerve is relaxing. So your GI is in activation, and that's a sign of relaxation. So how can we be better familiar and friends with our parts? That's the outer critic and the inner critic we put on the side. Thank them for stepping aside and let you see the part of you that's vulnerable and let you go back to yourself today. We will talk about them in our next 2 videos. Happy New Year again. See you.